Yeah, I know where this is at, yo. I know where this is at. It's about the young man who was fatally shot by a Columbia convenience store owner, and that convenience store owner has been charged because it was a fatal shooting.
A Columbia convenience store owner charged with murder tonight after the shooting death of a 14-year-old boy. Richland County deputies say that Rick Chow, who owns a Shell gas station near Park Lane Road in Columbia.
So this guy's name is Rick Chow. He owns a Shell gas station in Columbia on Park Lane Road. And Park Lane, many people who are from that area, you know where Park Lane is. This guy has gotten into fights with customers. Yeah, a lot of, I'm not saying it's everybody because it's not everybody, but I have noticed that there's a particular community that has a lot of store owners who are particularly aggressive with customers. Several store owners who basically look just like this guy who have attacked customers. Seriously, this is not an isolated thing from people from certain communities. It's not isolated. I'm telling you, some people believe they are adjacent to whiteness. It was a black child this man fatally shot.
Chased Cyrus Carmack-Belton from his store last night after suspecting him of shoplifting. That incident happened, according to deputies, at about 8 p.m. on Sunday night. Investigators say Chow shot the boy in the back just down the road off the convenience store property.
So did y'all hear that? This guy fatally shot this young man, 14 years old, in the back as he's fleeing down the road. This store owner thought this guy was stealing something, and the video footage shows he didn't do it. That's why he's being charged, because, you know, in South Carolina, it is legal to defend your property, right? But the reason why he's being arrested is because the kid didn't steal anything. The kid didn't take anything. He was innocent.
On Spring Tree Drive.
Nick Neville's joining us, and Nick, there had been some protesters out there during the day. Tell us what the scene is now on Park Lane Road there in front of that convenience store.
Dondi and Judy, so community activists and advocates against gun violence hadn't been out here all day, really all afternoon. That crowd has dwindled some. There's also a sign on the door of this gas station that says, "We're closed for Memorial Day. Sorry for the inconvenience."
So they actually closed the convenience store down. You see how many cars are out there? See, down in the South, man, we don't just tolerate that stuff, man, because we understand what we're dealing with. You see how fast we responded, baby? Oh, this is South Carolina. People will respond. You see how fast it happened? Because the black folks in South Carolina, see, we don't just tolerate this stuff. See, over in certain big cities, you know, y'all just take it. But down South, baby, we are known to bust back. We bust back. Everything's all closed down because they know when we get down, baby, we get down. That was a 14-year-old black boy. That could have been my sons. One of my sons. That could have been one of my sons. You doggone right. We gonna respond every time. I'm not even in South Carolina, and I already knew, oh, that store's packed. Oh, that store, you got people lining up and down the street in front of that store. You see a car across the street right there, baby. You see cars lined up on the side, baby. You see people lined up in front of the door because we don't just take it in South Carolina. Anti-black racism cannot be tolerated. They charged that store owner with murder because they understood how South Kakalaki gets down, baby. Down in South Kakalaki, we know that if too many cops bust out at freaking us, we bust back there too. We don't care if you got a badge on. We don't care if you happen to be a store owner. We don't care. We defend ourselves because racism cannot be tolerated. We have been targeted for the longest time. You're talking about ground zero for slavery in this country. 40% of the slaves who actually came off the slave ships, and don't get me wrong, there were already black people here in this country. Loads of them who were already here before the slave ships. Don't get it twisted. But 40% of the people who did come up for freaking slave ships, they came off through the port of Charleston. You're talking about ground zero. South Carolina. That's why we don't just take it. We understand the stakes. We get it. We get it on a level that many people in the country couldn't possibly comprehend. That could have been your child. That could have been my son. That could have been your whole world crushed. That could have been everything that you ever strived for and ever aspired for your loved one to be. All gone in an instant because of a perception. Do you know what got this young man taken out? The perception that black men have to be as broke as you, so we gotta steal. Even now, I make more money now than I've ever made in my entire life. And the average person who thinks that I'm walking outside, see, I live in a place where I'm walking around cars, right? And people have this idea that I'm taking cars. Excuse me, the average person saying that my car is nicer than yours. Somehow I'm gonna steal something that is less nicer than what I currently own. That's the reality of being a black male in this country. Even when you are at your best, you ain't nothing but, you know what I'm gonna say.